You're still watching Prime Morning, and it's time for us to delve into what the newspapers have for us. It's time for News Flash, and we are not just delving into what the newspapers have, but rather we are looking at the NPP's manifesto. Since it's election year, there'll be a lot of campaign promises. The most important thing is who can deliver. So if you hear these campaign promises, you ought to think twice and know that this particular political party can deliver or not. Now, we don't have just two political parties. You know, we have probably for now, we are yet to know, but let's talk about maybe Movement for Change, maybe the new force, maybe GUM will come on board as well. And the two main, the NDC and the NPP, that people feel they are the two main political parties vying to be in governance. Now, the NPP on Saturday went to Takoradi and delivered their manifesto to Ghanaians. Today, we have a great man who is joining us to dissect this particular manifesto, because some people might not have understood what the vice president and the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party did say. So he will break it down and he will let us understand how it can be implemented, because the implementation is the most important thing. Let me welcome my guest, and he's in the person of Haruna Mohammed. He is the Deputy General Secretary for the NPP. Good morning, Haruna.
Good morning, my dear.
How are you?
I'm fine.
Great. It's good to have you here.
Oh, thank you.
Fantastic.
You look very beautiful.
Thank you very much, Haruna. Thank you. Anyway, so I thank you very much. But your people were coming for me last week. I know you saw that video.
Oh.
So Haruna will let you people know that it's not nice. Anyway, this segment is probably brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Phone prepare is mobile phones that you want, television sets, CCTV cameras. We have all of that and even many more. You can actually download the app on your phone, Franco Trading app, or visit our website, www.francotradingenterprise.com. Franco Trading Enterprise, still phone prepare fee. And quick cash is still on. Now, today, guess what we are doing? We are going to be drawing 3 times, not once, not twice, but 3 times. But it's all dependent on your playing. So the more you play, the more we are drawing. Our very first draw will happen right after the News Flash segment. We are promising you this. So right after the News Flash segment, we are drawing. What do you do? Now, if you're a Telecel user or an MTN user, you pick up your phone and you dial *281#. *281#. Let's say it again. *281#. You select number 7, which is Joy Prime, and you play as many as possible, because it keeps asking you how many do you want to play. So you can play once, you can play twice, thrice. Just keep playing. The more you play, the more your chances of winning up to 1,000 Ghana cedis this morning. And guess what? You can win after News Flash. You can win again. You know, after our health conversation, you can win again after entertainment. So if you want to win maybe 3,000 this morning, when we finish drawing, you win your first one. Play again, win the second time, play again. So you know what? Play. Don't limit yourself, because today could be your lucky day. Let's play together. Let me quickly delve into what the newspapers have for us this morning. And today I'm actually taking 2 newspapers so that we can delve into our conversation. I promised you earlier that we'll have a political scientist join us and also an economist join us. They'll be joining us via Zoom, because they will speak the layman English. They'll let us understand if these things are possible. Can it be done, or it can't be done? The Chronicle newspaper is the first newspaper that I'm dissecting this morning. The Chronicle newspaper. Dampare warns political parties, don't dare. Any attempt to disturb the peace will be met with legal action. NPP manifesto, an action plan to build on Akufo-Addo's records, says Jinapo. Senate unveils the digital platforms to enhance member services. And Akufo-Addo breaks ground for $12 billion petroleum hub in Western region. Sorry about that. I'll do the Economy Times newspaper next. The Economy Times newspaper. Cedi free fall. Stakeholders want urgent action to slow depreciation. Food insecurity worsens as July rate pegged at 5.7%. Bank of Ghana issues draft guidelines to regulate cryptocurrency and digital assets. Okay, so that will be all with regards to what the newspapers are reporting this morning. Now, we take a brief look at what the vice president and the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party did say in his manifesto. A few highlights, I'll quickly touch on a few of them. Talking about taxes, he said, we'll offer a one-time tax amnesty to all Ghanaians and corporate entities. Of course, Haruna is here to let us understand what this is, because this particular one has caused a lot of conversations out there. So we'll definitely talk about that. And tax amnesty from the payment of taxes from the previous years. That we'll also want to understand. Abolishing betting tax. Well, with that, I think that everybody understands that one. I don't know if you want to go into it as well. The waiving of interest and penalties for failures to file taxes in previous years. Reduce withholding tax for small-scale gold exports to 1% to discourage smuggling. And implement a flat rate tax for all importers. Now, I know importers are very excited about this one, but can it be implemented? And if it can, what are the consequences? Is it going to be good consequence or dire consequence on the country or on the economy? Also, he said that he'll harmonize port charges to align with competing regional ports. He also said digitize all aspects of tax administration to reduce leakages and broaden the tax base. Incentivize Ghanaian startups with investment tax credits for the first 3 years of their operations. Now, this is hooray for somebody like me, because I know I'm going to start a business very soon, so I need that 3 years tax break. He also spoke a bit about job and businesses. He said stabilizing local food prices through Development Bank, that's Development Bank Ghana, DBG, and Ghana incentive-based risk-sharing system for agriculture lending. Stabilizing spare part prices through flat rate for all importers policy. So it's like the flat rate is cutting across in a way. Promoting electric vehicles and expanding gold for oil program. I know with the gold for oil, there are a few questions. Some people feel it hasn't been that transparent. Yes, it might be working, but the transparency level is a bit low. So people are doubting its credibility as to whether it has worked or it hasn't worked. There hasn't been that much of transparency in there. Expanding social housing services, including homeless shelters and rental assistance scheme. Those who rent... Sorry, I'm clearing my throat a little bit. Those of you who rent, who have been complaining about rent charges, about rent advance and all of that, well, they say worry no more, because there's rental assistance scheme. I think we'll definitely talk about that as well. And improving housing finance through mortgage market expansion and rent-to-own schemes. So with this one, again, I still have a few questions, because currently, if you understand how the mortgage system works, it works with your age, it works with your salary and all of that. And so if you are looking at getting mortgage, are they going to negotiate with the banks to look at the percentages that will be taken off your salary, percentage of money that will be given to you, and all of that? So Haruna is here to speak to all of that. Enhancing power availability and affordability through 2,000 megawatts of solar power and net metering. And that will be it. For the rest, we'll talk about it. So let me start this conversation. Haruna, welcome once again.
Thank you.
All right, so I don't know where I should start this conversation from, if we should start it from the taxes. I think that the highlight is where we should start it from. I know you've received a few calls from people out there trying to understand some of the things that your flag bearer did mention. Yeah. The tax amnesty is one big conversation out there. Please, if it's possible, break it down to the ordinary man who might not understand what this tax amnesty is.
Okay, thank you very much, Rosalind, for giving me this opportunity this morning. After traveling hours from Takoradi to Accra, to wake up at 4 a.m.
Oh, we are sorry about that, but thank you for coming, though.
I think that is a call to duty to work for the New Patriotic Party, and country, Ghana. We launched our manifesto over the weekend on Sunday through our dynamic leader, the leader of the New Patriotic Party and the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, who has brought tremendous change to our democratic credentials, who has contributed a lot to how we help to reshape this economy. He has put through his vision, and the vision is grounded on the theme of the manifesto, and that is selfless leadership, bold solutions for jobs and businesses. Every leader is selected at a point in time to solve solutions or to solve problems. And for him to be selected at this particular moment, then we need a leader that would have bold solutions. Bold solutions because we have found ourselves in an era where the global situation is not very favorable to any country at all. And Ghana is not an exception. So we getting an economy under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, which has been able to turn around the corner and rebounding back. We need to build consensus and be able to put bold solutions to be able to solve some of these particular problems. Our manifesto is being put on 14 thematic areas. One of the areas for this particular manifesto is sustaining, expanding the Ghana's rebounding economy, which we think that we need to put together, make sure we are able to hold it to be able to support all the sectors that comes in. Also looking at creating new jobs, which is one of the thematic areas. Every aspect of these thematic areas, all the thematic areas fits into the creation of new jobs. Everything that you know you are doing, you need to look at how it's going to impact on the people, how jobs are going to be created, because in every development drive, you have input, process, output, and these particular process must be able to measure the outcomes and impact that is going to affect much positively on the people of Ghana. The third one is implementing wide-ranging tax reforms, which you have begun, and I'll come to explain more on this particular concept. The fourth part is building Ghana into a world-class digital economy. And this is very essential because we are moving away from what we do. Essentially, you don't continue to do the same thing at the same time because the world is changing from these manual systems to a digitalized system. So we are in the fourth industrial revolution where we need people who will be able to match up with the task. The fifth is to reduce the cost of living. Cost of living has to be looked at this particular era. We have done a lot. People have seen the number of roads that we have done, the hospitals that we are putting together, a lot of government intervention. How do we build on to be able to create wealth so that at least the standard of living of the people is being reduced to the minimum, to be able to afford the ordinary Ghanaian the opportunity to be able to change their lives and also make impact in the future. The sixth is expanding the public infrastructure. Once we have been able to put up a lot of infrastructure, be able to support development drive, we need to expand this public infrastructure. How do we do it? It has been captured in the manifesto by His Excellency, the Vice President and the flag bearer of our party. Then providing better health care for all. Better health care for all because health is life. Once we say water is life, but health is very important. We are healthy, that is why we are here. So we need to look at those particular aspects as to how we are able to get a healthy citizens who will be able to support all sectors of the economy to grow. The eighth is implement affirmative action for women and girls. This has been on the drawing board for a longer time. It took a bold government in Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo to be able to pass the affirmative action bill into law. And I think that it is something that we have to look at and give equal opportunity to everybody or every facet of our life. Then expanding educational opportunities for all. Education is key. We have successfully implemented a very key and monumental project called the Free Senior High School, which is going to reduce the illiteracy level within our system and also to up the human resource of the country. What we have to do essentially in the next administration of the NPP government to expand the educational opportunities for all to be provided with some level of educational development. Then the 10th thematic area is to provide good governance. If you are doing all these things and you don't provide the platform, you don't give the indicators for governance is not being put well, I don't think that people will be able to enjoy and support all these systems that we are putting out. The 11th area is create care for the elderly. We have not essentially have any policy to support the elderly. That stands alone. So in signing a social contract with the good people of Ghana, it is good that we look at that particular area. And that is why we have captured it in our manifesto to care for the elderly in society. The next point that we are also looking at as part of the thematic areas is to protect our environment. We have all seen how Galamsey has affected this country. We have all seen how our water bodies has been spoiled and so many things, and even in the forest, we need to reclaim most of these particular sectors. So we are looking at these particular areas as part of our social contract. Then boost sports, creative art, and then tourism, which is key. There are a lot of untapped areas that we have not been able to harness, so that we want to look at all these areas. And finally, protecting our borders and keeping safe our neighborhood. It is good that we essentially look at this particular area because visibility within the security system has been enhanced by the employment of many internal security personnel, that is police. And then we have also installed a lot of cameras that is also helping. So visibility is key and keeping our security intact. Your first question was about us explaining on the tax amnesty. If you look at it, we said that we are going to offer a one-time tax amnesty to all Ghanaians and corporate entities. When you say this, there's always a scope of how you are going to do it. People will be asking, okay, if you want to offer a one-time tax amnesty, what is the scope of that? One, the tax amnesty will cover payments, taxes that has not been paid within a particular period. That is, let's say, before the assumption of our government in January 2025. People might have lacked in payment of taxes. Interest might have been slapped on these taxes. The principals has not also been enhanced. Interest to penalties also put on that. So what His Excellency seeks to do is that he's saying that tax amnesty from payment of taxes from the previous years, not previous year, previous years, meaning 2024, 2023, 2022, 2021, back all the years that taxes has not been paid by companies, individuals, corporate institutions.
Is there a cap on the number of years?
No, there's no cap. Much as your tax is being updated to show that you have not been paying taxes to this particular period, all this will be accumulated and shown to the tax authority. The tax authority will bring it up, and all your taxes will be cancelled. That is what it means. We'll cancel all the taxes that you have not been able to pay. Then the other scope is about if you are cancelling the tax, are you waiving the interest and penalties? Because there are penalties that is attached to unpaid taxes. There are interests that accumulate on taxes. So the scope of this implementation is saying that you are not going to also be charged with it. I can forgive you your taxes, but you have to pay interest. You have to pay penalties. So in this case, we are forgiving you
the penalties.
You are forgiving you the tax, we are forgiving you the penalties, and we are forgiving you the interest.
So you are starting on a fresh note. Okay.
Fresh plates.
Okay.
What is the reason? What is the rationale behind this? If you look at the number of people that pay taxes in Ghana, the number of people that pay taxes in Ghana is very low. Why is it low? It's because the tax net is too small. Many people are evading taxes because of some of these bottlenecks. So we are taking this off, and we are implementing tax reforms that will be accommodative to corporate institutions, individuals to feel free to now pay taxes. It is better to pay taxes or to get a wide range of people paying taxes in small, small quantities that will make the bigger amount than to tax the very few individuals who will relent in their effort to pay taxes.
All right, so if I may ask this question with regards to it opening up so people can now pay, that's what you said, right?
Yes.
To get more people to pay, because it's better that it's not a closed bracket but an open bracket, so we get more people coming in to pay.
Yeah.
Now, some people feel that, you know, if they come in to pay, because we didn't talk about, or he didn't talk about the fact that he will reduce taxes. He said, I will waive off these. You have an amnesty, because if you are owing penalties and all of that, from what you are explaining, is waived off. Now we come to a fresh slate. We are starting on a clean slate. As we start, what if I come in there and there's more tax put on me? What happens next?
You see, Rosalind, what happens in these particular systems is that this is a social policy. This is something that the government intends to do through a social contract. This is our plan. When you come to government and you are going to govern, you send in what we call the budget. These budgets will have cabinet approvals. The budget would indicate which tax has to stay, which tax has to go. The budget
will tax can be added.
Yes. Okay. So the budget will clearly indicate the taxes that is going to be put. So you eventually see that when we came into government, we abolished so many taxes, about 17 taxes that we took away. We also reduced some of the taxes.
And you also brought on some new taxes.
We brought on minimal taxes that will not have that much effect on businesses. Because if you see a tax that is ranging between 17.5%, you bring it down to 5-something%, and then you come to increase a tax by 1.2%. Essentially, you have not even done anything, because you look at the percentage of tax you took away on one, from 17.5,
but that's not
maybe.
how the layman sees it. The layman sees it as you added on tax. They look at taxes like the e-levy, the emission tax, and all of that. So the layman, you are explaining it in the, you know, the statistical way, but the layman is feeling that you have added on more tax.
And that is why you, myself, we are here to explain to the layman, because we need to let the layman appreciate how these taxes, how this economy is being run. So it is for us to educate, it is for us to inform, it is for us to further explain, to get them to understand that this is how the system works. So it is the budget that has the government's vision at that particular economic year, that this is how I want to do it. And in doing it, I am going to make sure that there's going to be a tax amnesty. Clear. Then the further programs and activities that will come will now tell you what is going to be the category of taxes, which tax must stay, which tax must go. And essentially, it will also be telling you.
Let's
get that
one out.
Essentially, it will also. It is also be telling you how much money you seek to generate. And that is why he's saying that if I am able to do all these things, then there is no need to have the electronic tax. That is the e-levy. There will not be need, because the gap that the e-levy would have been solving, the widening of the tax net, getting more people to pay the taxes, has taken away that particular gap, and there will not be need for that. Because essentially you want to get money, you want to get more money for development, but you need to look at the areas that you need to get them from.
So what happens if people don't come in to, you know, declare their taxes? Because as of now, with regards to what you're saying, we need the people to come on board. And so if they come on board, then we can scrap the e-levy, because it will cover that, it will close that gap, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
So what if the people don't come? What happens to e-levy then?
You see, we don't work in impossibilities. We work on the mindset of possibilities. So if they don't come, that's not cross our mind, because we believe in possibilities. And that is why we are saying that we are going to use the Estonia example, where Ghanaians will feel free, Ghanaians will be very comfortable to file your tax, and easy file tax returns. You know, there is difference between how much you pay and your tax returns. Your tax return will tell whether you will pay tax or you would not. You can file your tax returns and you don't pay any tax because your tax return will determine whether you should be taxed or not. So it essentially gives myself, you, and everybody out there that the opportunity to file your tax just by a click.
Okay.
You file your tax returns, and when you file your tax returns, this gives the government opportunity to know whether you should pay tax or you should not.
Pay tax.
And
okay.
taxes are not going to be that much. It's not going to be a burden. You know, incidence of taxation has always been something that
It's
kills
a burden.
So it's a burden. So
yeah.
people usually shift incidence of tax to people. So you would see that all this is going to be worked around. And that is why he's saying that he's going to reduce withholding taxes. You know, when withholding taxes are also huge, it brings effect on the amounts that have been paid. So some of these areas are going to be looked at. That's why he said that we're going to have a reform of the value-added tax regime by merging all levies into a single line levy item. Because if the taxes are too many, you find very uncomfortable because you'll be counting them one after the other and you wouldn't know which tax you are even paying. So all this is going to be put into a single line item levy so that you know that this is what I am paying.
Let's look at the e-levy. It looks like the e-levy cuts across board. Okay, whether the person is in formal or informal sector, the person will pay e-levy. Whether you are young or you are old, you still pay e-levy. Now, currently, the plan that you're bringing in, it means that the informal sector will have to be roped in a way. How do you plan to rope in these people who are in the informal sectors, those who are selling online, if I'm emceeing a gig and all of that? How do you plan? Because you are going to cancel e-levy. So then how do you rope me into the regular formal taxing system?
Yes, how we are going to do it is that, you see, we have said that we are going to incentivize the Ghanaian startups and then also the informal sector. We have said that we are going to do much more of digitalizing all the aspects. First, we started with the Ghana card. All of us here can now be identified. Every single person can now be identified. So whether you are in the informal sector or you are in the formal sector, you are being identified. And when the opportunity is given for the simple filing of tax returns, it doesn't necessarily mean it is the formal sector. The informal sector, every individual will have the opportunity to file your tax return. Once you file...
It's an opportunity.
It's an opportunity.
But what if I don't want to?
That is why we have to make sure we let the people understand the need to pay taxes. What are the importance of paying taxes? Are we able to leverage that and be able to use it to the benefit of the people? And that when the people appreciate the need to pay the taxes, they don't even wait for you.
Do you think people will ever appreciate the need to pay taxes? Because taxes are like a burden to everybody. Nobody wants to lose money. Nobody. Even when the country was calling on churches to be taxed, the churches were very upset. Nobody wants to pay tax, no matter how much they earn. So if you tell me that I should come in and pay my tax, or I should come and file for my returns willingly, pay money to the government, there's a possibility I won't. Now, currently, e-levy is such that whether you like it or not, you pay. So why don't we just maintain e-levy rather than scrapping e-levy and bringing in a willing way of paying taxes?
That is why we are saying that we are going to broaden the tax base. If you broaden the tax base, what essentially do? You leverage the digitalized part to capture more eligible taxpayers. And that is why I am telling you that you and I has a Ghana card. And if you check the quantum of money that we got under Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, it's because people have seen that the government is actually using the money that they pay to be able to develop their communities. So essentially, more people get in or get on board to be able to pay their taxes. So it is about education, it is about incentives, it is about motivating the people and letting the people to understand that the taxes you pay is meant to support, to develop, and educate you and your grandchildren or your great-grandchildren.
Okay.
And that is how it's going to move, and many people will come on board. When we came, the number of people who were paying taxes.
You're sure many people will come on board?
Many people will come on board. Many people will come on board because it's not going to be tax as usual. It's going to be something that is going to be very incentivizing because we have a leader that can take bold solutions.
I don't know, the people out there, my viewers, ever since I was born, I have never liked to pay money out of my salary to something. You know what I mean? Even if it's for a good cause. Sometimes you want to, you want to buy something, but even releasing that money to buy that thing is painful, and that thing is for your benefit. So now you coming to me to lure me to walk to these offices and, pay my tax or file for my tax returns is another conversation. But let's see how you will be able to convince Ghanaians. Somebody who earns maybe 500 cedis, you convince the person, come in, file for your tax returns and pay tax for the economy. Again, let's move on to the next one, which is rental. Very, very important. And I know most of my people out there have been complaining about how rent system in Ghana is. Currently, 2 years advance, 1 year advance, your salary might be just 2,000 Ghana cedis. And they ask for 2 years advance, and it's like you're paying like 9,000, you're paying 12,000. Where are you getting this money from? So it's like you're doing hand to mouth. But your government is saying that you make it easy. Tell us how you're going to do that.
We are saying that we are going to ensure a variety of accommodation types to meet different pockets and needs. We have done such a system, or we started a system under President Kufuor, where we have the affordable housing system. Under His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we continued with many other housing systems where we brought the rent issues, where we have been able to offer opportunity to have discussions with landlords and landladies who have these particular apartments and facilities to rent out to people. Under Dr. Bawumia's government, we are talking about social housing and affordable housing system, where we are including homeless shelters, that is an overnight stay for the vulnerable, and also an expanded rental assistance scheme for low-income workers. So this rental assistance scheme has been something that is very operational now. We have been talking, and these agencies have been talking with the landlords to be able to understand the critical moment of our time, that we should ensure to support people who rent, people who comes to have short stays in terms of their work schedule, because people are here. For me, example, I'm in Accra because I am appointed as a Deputy General Secretary. I come to Accra, I have to rent, and I have to stay, make myself comfortable in a place. Within a period that I am not working on this, I would go back to where, because that's I live in Tamale. Basically, I live in Tamale.
Yeah, the last time I think you joined us via Zoom.
My hometown is Zabzugu,
yeah.
So I like being with my people.
Okay.
So if work sends me somewhere, I must be very comfortable to be able to have a renting system. And that is why we are going to have a constant touch, discuss with this landlord, let them appreciate the laws that surrounds this particular and the schemes that we will bring in. We are also talking about leveraging on the private sector. If you leverage on the private sector and give them the opportunity to be able to bring up more infrastructure in terms of building hostel facilities and other apartments, these private sector will then in turn get this to the people at a very lower cost system. And that is why we are going to have district housing projects.
Okay, district housing projects.
Yes, district housing projects.
Can I ask you a bit about the affordable housing, then we can go into the district housing projects? Is that okay, please? So the affordable housing, I know affordable housing has been here for a while, and you have actually completed some phases. Harina.
Yep.
Oh, you're ready. Sorry.
No, I'm listening to you.
You have actually completed some phases, and the pricing that came out caused people to speak about it a lot, because somebody says, I will need the affordable housing, but the price on the market is very expensive. How do I afford a building that costs 13,220? Now, this affordable housing is meant for the ordinary man out there whose salary could be 500, whose salary could be 700, whose salary could be 2,000. Now, the cheapest we'll look at is 13,220. So somebody like that, how can the person afford this affordable housing?
Yes, Rosalind, it depends upon where you are. If I am living in Tamale or I'm living in Zapzugu, you ask yourself how much is rent at that place. If you are living in Nakpanduri, you ask yourself how much is rent at that place. So rent varies from one place to the other. Even if you are in Accra and you go to East Logon to do something and somebody is, let's say, at Atashaman or whatever, the prices of items vary from one place to the other. So it also tells you your taste and where you should have it, because you need to define your economic strength must determine where you live, right? Myself and you, if we are going to get ourselves in place, we'll be identifying our strength.
Okay.
We'll definitely do a SWOT analysis of ourselves to understand where exactly you would have to be. So in getting this affordable housing system, it's not going to be just be the prices that is going to be in Accra is going to be the same when it is in Tamale or when it is in that. It's going to be in a different. The location is also very important.
But we also have to take into consideration that there are people in Accra who earn 2,000 Ghana cedis.
Obviously, and there are
Yes.
people in Accra who
But-
don't
but
even earn anything at all.
Exactly.
Yes,
So if we look at it like that, and we are still looking at the minimum, because the average Ghanaian, you know, a teacher, a nurse, the average Ghanaian out there, if the building is the cost of the building in Accra, the minimum is $13,220. It's up to $42,550. Now, $13,220,000, if you calculate it in Ghana cedis right now, is quite high. And I'm earning $2,500.
And this calculation, even within Accra, that you are mentioning, the 13,000, is a certain particular places, not all places within Accra.
But this is for the completed phases, your 8,000 units completed phases I'm talking about. So you pegged, for the NPP government, you pegged it even in dollars, not in cedis. And that was one of the complaints that came up.
And I'm saying that is Accra. You are talking about Accra. Is that not Accra?
Yes, Accra.
Yes. So, but I'm telling you that it's not everybody that have the taste to live in Accra. Some people will have the taste to live outside Accra. And not all that, if you go to Tamale, the price of the house will not be priced at this particular level.
I understand you, but I'm just saying that there are still people in Accra who need this affordable housing. So how do we price it such that, yes, if you are in Tamale, you benefit. If you're in Accra, you benefit as well, because it looks as though it's only for a certain class of people who can afford these houses that will be able to buy it.
Yes, that essentially, when you are doing everything, it will definitely be in certain classes. All of you cannot be in the same category of place. Even in registrations, even in paying of prescriptions, you will define the level at which you are. The value, I don't know what went into the valuation, but definitely from a background, if they are going to do the valuation, they will look at the materials that goes into it, the cost of putting up these particular facilities. The area is also important. The amount of money that I'm going to buy a land, you can buy a land 1 million Ghana cedis in Accra, but I can buy a land 20,000, 10,000 in the north. Even in my place, Zapzugu, I can buy a land at maybe 1,000 cedis or 2,000 cedis.
So should we still,
it depends.
Should we still term it as affordable then?
Yes, affordable because you must define what you need. Your need might define your affordability. If they are selling a house at $13,000 and you cannot afford, you will go in for a house that is lower than that. And that
But
is
this is
what,
the lowest.
And this is current.
In Accra?
This is current.
Yes,
But
it's current.
the government of Dr. Bawumia is telling you that we are going to incentivize
Okay.
and be able to come out with some of these particular affordable housing schemes, and tells you that we are also going to encourage you to set aside 20 to 30% for low-income social housing units, which will be subsidized, or a subsidized rent will be given.
Okay, so there's going to be subsidy. Okay. If I may ask, do you know what percentage subsidy it will be?
That is why I'm telling you, in every policy you brings up, when we are going to do the implementation, you will come out with the budget.
Okay.
And the budget will be approved by the House of Parliament.
Right.
And which you also have the cabinet approval to be able to go to Parliament, for Parliament to look at them and also approve. You don't just pick it as a wholesale, because in the first one we're going to start, you talk about we have manifesto, but the wheel of implementation is what is key. So once
it is star 281 hash, star 281 hash, star 281 hash. Just play the quick cash game. Very, very important. You stand a chance of winning up to 1,000 Ghana cedis. We'll play our first one right after the news flash segment. I think I should start playing so that I don't miss out on it, because we don't actually have favorites in here. We give it to anybody that wins. All right, so let's see our first message, because somebody actually told me yesterday, I sent my messages at 5 a.m. I said, okay, today I'm going to try and see. Okay, so yes, a message came in at 5:21 a.m. Wow. Good morning, Rosalind. You see, the person even mentioned my name. At 5:21 a.m., I was still on my way to work. The same job Mahama cancelled allowances for nurses, and you still got a backlog of nurses from 2012, 2013, 2014, 2015, and even 2016. The NPP government under President Akufo-Addo and Bawumia leadership restores the allowances and clears the backlog you left, and has employed even more health professionals. And your argument is Ghanaians should vote for you so that you will cancel the allowance and give nurses jobs. If cancellation of allowances was to give nurses jobs, you failed because you couldn't employ them. Employment of nurses has nothing or little to do with allowance payments. Abdul Aziz Jibani. Abdul, today I've done your message. Meshak Asante at Amaseman says, hey, Dr. Lies has started again. Looking at the faces of NPP members who were present at the Manifesto launch, you could see they themselves did not even believe what Dr. Bawumia was promising, especially Kennedy Ejapong. Was he not the same person who promised one constituency $1 million? Did he fulfill? No. He can only deceive himself and a small group of people in Ghana who think like him, but the majority of Ghanaians have already made up their minds to vote for President Mahama come December 7th. Greetings to Sedem Apenyo, incoming MP for Amasaman. So this one says that I can't think far with the EC's attitude. What's preventing EC to release the voters register to the political parties? What are EC hiding from? Oh, what are the EC hiding from the political parties? We want to know from Abladi Ifyekuma Zongo. So this one says, good morning, everyone, most especially the incoming president of Ghana, John Mahama and Madam Jane. In fact, NPP as a political party thinks Ghanaians are fools because Ghanaians have been patient with this corrupt family and friends, Galamsey, Japadia, and wasteful government of theirs. One thing I can assure them is that in 2024 elections is they should pack and leave, because even if they steal this election for Bawumia, trust me, what happens in Kenya and Bangladesh will be small as compared to, we don't want to encourage violence. My darling, we don't want to encourage violence. Master Rahman, let's try as much as possible not to encourage violence, okay? To the leadership of the NDC, if they grant the NPP and IEA any debates in this country, they should forget for my vote in this 2024 elections. The NPP told us to debate the economy in 2020, and they can equally debate the economy in 2024. Master Rahman. Good morning to the journalists in Ghana. Voltarians are in trouble. Common sense will tell EC boss Jane Mensah and the NPP big men are trying to put tension in the community, okay? Common EC exhibition, the government of the day deploys police officers in the Volta region, specifically Keta. What have we done to the NPP government? I keep on saying on your network that Jane Mensah should publish the names in the register on the website before the general election. Abochi Philip from Keta. Okay, so Abochi, sometimes these things are for security reasons, okay? Don't worry at all. Nobody's against you guys. Good morning to you, Rosalind, and to you, Haruna. Please, I'm begging you to ask Haruna for me that if his party is actually having the youth in heart, NAPCO trainees crying and singing over 9 months arrears, 3 years now, your government cannot hear us. I want to know when at all his government cleared this arrears. Again, when he go back to Flagstaff House, he should please kindly inform Bawumia to pay for us. We are suffering. God bless you all. Albert, Haruna.
Yes.
This is coming from a viewer. He says that he's a NAPCO trainee and he hasn't received his money.
I know he himself is aware that when he was taking up the appointment was for a particular period. The period in which he had a very valid contract was paid. The period he's talking about is the extension that was given him, which he never had a contract for. So an appeal has been made in that particular regard. This has been referred to the appropriate office that had extended this for them, for them to do an evaluation of who was paid and who has not been paid. And when that is done and put before the finance minister, payment will also be done to those particular periods. But he's aware that this is a period he never had a contract with the government of Ghana.
Okay. All right. So this one says, in 2016 and 2020, one could feel and touch NPP promises. One district, one factory, one village, one dam, one district, $1 million, one district, one warehouse. All these were not to be. And yet Nanado and Dr. Bawumia have no shame. NPP beware. Nanado gave contract of $34 million to his daughter, and Bawumia gave Cocoa Road contract to his brother. Wow, these people have no shame. Patrick from Accra. This one says, good morning. Can you media houses play the video where JM spoke about the fact that there is no magic to put money into people's pockets and it's true work that a person can get money? NPP has misquoted JM. Even Nanado said the last that Bawumia won't say he's not a magician to create jobs. For the records, JM never said that, and I wish the NDC communicators to deal with these lies of the NPP. In fact, I'll be surprised if NPP gets even 2% of this election. Hey, you'll be surprised. All right. It is clear that the second coming of JM is a non-negotiable. Ghanaians are tired of the economic hardship, incessant increase in fuel prices and utility tariffs, galloping inflation, and glaring state capture under the Nana and Bawumia government. Anyone who campaigns for the NDC at this moment is not engaging in politics, but on a rescue mission for Ghana. Dr. Bawumia must be a wicked leader to have all these flashy ideas, and instead of helping his boss to implement them for the benefit of Ghanaians, he's waiting to become president before implementing these. I'm clear in my mind that their manifesto is nothing but recycled policies and empty sloganeering directed at deceiving Ghanaians to renew their mandates. Unfortunately, Ghanaians are not as gullible as they think. In my view, no Ghanaian in his right frame of mind should vote for Dr. Bawumia come December polls. Daniel Akpaleok from Sandema. Good morning, Joy Prime. People asking the question that why is Bawumia not implementing this idea he's proposing now? The truth of the matter is that the bus does not stop with Bawumia now. But in any case, why didn't Mr. Bahama implement the ideas he's proposing now? But please, will government workers also enjoy tax amnesty? Well, there's a question.
They are citizens.
They are citizens. Okay. No, but even if you're a government, so I don't know how any government worker can evade tax.
It's pay as you go.
Yes.
So once it's pay as you go, every government worker does not owe anything in terms of, but you are a government worker and you work in the private sector.
Or you have a business.
You have a business you are doing.
Yes.
When you owe on that particular aspect, you are a citizen of Ghana. Bawumia is giving you a tax amnesty.
Right. So people have to understand that it's not the taxes that's taken from your salary. No. I think people are thinking the taxes taken from your salary.
We have given them an amnesty before during the COVID.
Yes,
we've given all health workers.
Yeah.
Paramedics, medics, we've given them a tax amnesty of not paying pay as you go.
Okay.
The payee tax was taken off. They were taking full salary without tax.
Okay.
So we can do it at any point in time when the need arises. But we are giving all Ghanaians tax amnesty over the years before the advent of Dr.
And we need people to understand that this tax amnesty is not. It's more of, it applies more to people who have evaded tax. So if, let's say, you have a business, we need to break it down for people to understand. You have a business, okay? You are supposed to go declare your tax. You are supposed to file for your tax. You haven't filed for it because you think that as of now, I am not making profit at all. And so I'm not going to pay. Maybe you are into, selling of fishes or something. You have a cold store and you feel you're not making the profit. So you're not declaring your tax. Okay. Now, anytime you miss the tax payment or the tax declaration, what happens is there's a penalty on your head. Now, if you haven't paid all these and your penalty is still there, if you go in there tomorrow and you decide that, I want to do, you have to pay the whole penalty plus the whole taxes you have missed. But Dr. Bawumia says if voted into power, what he will do is that he will waive it off. But we don't know the number of years that will be waived off yet.
It's known because it is based on you, the number of years that you have tax in arrears.
So even if you have tax arrears of 100 years, it's waived off.
Yes.
Is that what he says?
Yes. If you have tax
20
arrears,
years, it's waived off.
It's waived off. You are coming on a clean sheet in 2020.
So you are coming on a clean sheet. So it's not, you're a bank worker and they are taking your salary right now, they are taking taxes out of your salary, don't go and say, oh, I want tax waiver. It doesn't work like that. Anyway, let's see what we have here. This one says, good morning. What's the NPP led by Dr. Bawumia telling Ghanaians again? As for me, I expect nothing but unqualified apology from them. What I can remember offhand is that at least $1 million per constituency each year, vehicles for Okada riders, the airport and harbour in Cape Coast, even the free cocoa fertilizer for farmers have been stopped. I have not also forgotten the price of fuel, an egg, a bag of charcoal and $1. If the NPP man thinks that it's Dr. Bawumia who will come and change things, tell them that they have failed in their lives because he is not coming to work alone, but with a team which is not different from the current one. NPP is a team of failures. Francis from Adeso. Today, I think I'm getting a lot of new people watching. Good morning to you all, and good morning to the incoming MP for Esikado Kenten constituency, Professor Dr. Grace Ayesu Dankwa. In the NPP's manifesto, says they will reduce import duties to be lesser in West Africa. Meanwhile, we have duty-free port in West Africa. So how can that be? Now I know the textbook economic messiah, Dr. Bawumia, is desperate for power. That is why we, the youth, are for JDM 24-hour economy, which includes the port services. Vote JDM and NDC candidates for a better future. Albert in Kojokrom, Esikado, Kenton. Madam, good morning. Please let the man go and educate his family. We are no more. Oh, no, there are people here who he's educating and they are watching and they are listening, okay? So I understand where you're coming from, but there are people who need this sort of education as well. Sami Boachi Asemankese, on a serious note, the Bold Solution Manifesto will give more hope to the good people of Ghana. And indeed, as for the implementation, Dr. Bawumia is a man of walking and talks, and we are very optimistic that any policies will be implemented in our manifesto, and it's possible. Let's do it together. I help break the aid to protect the free SHS with Dr. Bawumia. To lead is to solve. Regards to Honorable Charles Echampo, the MP for Asemankese, and Frank Esiedubekoi, aka is it Protocol? Protozwa? Sometimes you say Protozwa. And the next MP for Suhum, happy birthday to Ibrahim Gonja. Good morning, Pretty. Oh, thank you so much. 2024 election is a vote for a bright future and a vote for a bleak past. A vote for Dr. Bawumia is a vote for prosperity. Clearly, Dr. Bawumia has demonstrated in his manifesto that he has a key to take us to the promised land through digitization space. It is possible. Mukaila Adiya inside Kerry says, nobody denies the fact that globally times are not hard. But let's learn the clue from Nigerians for retaining Buhari's party to see them to the promised land. Ghana is gradually turning away from traditional way of doing things to a more precise manner through the help of digitalization. We cannot entrust this country into Mahama's hands to take us back to the 70s. We are moving forward to catch up with the developed world, such as the USA, UK government, amongst others. Hence, the need to continue with Dr. Bawumia and NAPO. Regards to Honorable Ophelia Mensah Hayford, MP Papa. Alhaji Hamza Pig Farm says, good morning, madam. Let's be truthful to ourselves and speak the truth for once in this country. President Mahama, before leaving office, borrowed 120 billion Ghana cedis. And with these monies, President Mahama invested this money into capital investment to yield returns for the country and evidence out there for all to see. Okay. Over 700 billion Ghana cedis he has been borrowed within the period of 7 years, and there is nothing to show for us today. Okay, sometimes it's too long, so please reduce it a little bit for us, okay? Good morning, Sister Rosalind. Bawumia supervised corruption for 8 years and now wants to be president before fighting it. What happened to the Palugu Dam, the 1D, 1F, and 1V1D? The exchange rate he talks about in 2016, he did nothing about it as the head of EMT. He made noise about soul sourcing in 2016, but now he has intensified their family and friends. He and Nanado talked about in 2016, but today it has increased for more than 400%. So a vote for Bawumia is a third term for Nanado and Ejapadia committee members. Please, we need an experienced hand to reset the country. From Solomon Zenu, Martin Luther. Good morning, Rosalind. What the NPP is saying doesn't make any sense. Why would Bawumia reduce the number of taxes or do anything to reduce taxes? Isn't he the vice president there? Why didn't he do that? when his superior was imposing unnecessary taxes. If your message is a bit too long, I might have to just read your first paragraph, so please keep it brief for me. Assalamu alaikum. Okay, one teacher, one car promise by Bawumia in their manifesto. Please ask Honorable, are they going to provide fuel and maintenance allowance, even laptop in Bobasa? Abidin Mohammed, Achiasi constituency. Abidin, is it one teacher, one car? Is that, I don't remember that he said it like that. It's more of, you know, explain, because I think from what I understand and from probably what the ordinary Ghanaian or the layman also understands is the payment system, right?
Yes, you are going to incentivize that area to allow them to be able to buy, import these cars into the country, which they will not be paying taxes on the import. So it is to give them the opportunity and give them the platform to be able to import them in. Under Kufuor, you realize that
there was a military and all, right?
Even nurses.
Yeah,
all categories of nurses, all health workers were given the opportunity to import in. At some point in time, government had imported those particular cars at a very reduced cost for them to buy. In this particular government, he's saying that we are going to offer incentives for healthcare workers and teachers to buy one vehicle each with engine capacity of 1.8.
So if you say incentivize, what are you doing? What
exactly
are you giving to
one importing is going to be something that is going to be looked at. The cost attached to that, and even the opportunity to get it, registration and the amount. You could be given an incentive of, if you want to take a loan to buy a car as a teacher, you could be given an incentive that when you are taking it and the interest rate is at this
as a teacher, your interest rate is lower.
Pay will be lower.
Right.
When you are importing, this is the amount of money that will be paid because we are going to have a flat rate system. For you as a teacher, this is the incentive
are you going to
that you are going
to. As well?
That is why we are saying that when we say incentives and you are giving the nod, you would now look at which of the incentives will better serve them. And we have done it before.
It could be subsidy.
Yes.
It could be reduction in
But the point is that at the port, payment of tax on it is going to
be waived off. So teachers, nurses, maybe those in the security sector, maybe. Are they still enjoying it? Because I know they were enjoying it back then. Are they still enjoying it? If my friends are in the security, if you are still enjoying it and you haven't told me, I'm coming for you.
Then you have to get the uniform. You have to get the uniform.
But there is a cap, isn't it?
Yes.
There's a cap to the number of vehicles you can.
That's why we said that. To buy one vehicle each.
So it's on one vehicle.
Each.
So that's one vehicle. So, and there's also an engine capacity. That's a cubic.
Yes, because somebody asked about, are you going to give money for fuel and maintenance? If you have 1.8, your consumption will be very low.
So and the cubic capacity must be 1.8. You can't go above 1.8 vehicle. What about the year of manufacture? Is it important?
Once it's a car, it's a car. Yes, but nobody will go outside to go and be buying a very old or rickety car. People will be buying.
People get it as a gift.
When you are given an incentive, you go and buy even the luxurious one.
All right.
Check the staff of Bank of Ghana. They will never go and buy a car because they have been given an incentive. So when they are going, they buy the flashy ones.
The flashy ones. All right. Under Bawumia, there will be tax cuts and amnesties, enhanced rental schemes for renters and care for the elderly. Dr. Bawumia's plan on getting a part of the energy grid to renewables with incentives will lower household bills and emission for clean energy for all. Please, all tertiary students should also note that the no guarantor student loan has no effect, on trainee allowances. It is just to help with fee payment. Trainee allowances have not been touched. They will still be paid. Bold solutions for our future. It's possible, Abdul Aziz. Abdul Aziz, you already sent a message. Please, if you already sent a message, let's keep one, so that I can be able to read as many as possible. Good morning, Roslyn, and good morning to your panelists. From what Alhaji Haruna is saying, he's even confusing us the more. They have nothing better for Ghanaians, hence confusing us the more. He should come again on widening the tax nest. Nobody will be willing to walk into any GRA office to file his or her tax when nothing is being seen as a result of the tax being paid. The NPP should come again, Kojokov Town. I actually mentioned...
Rosalyn, let me just clear this mystery.
Please go ahead.
You see, when we said that we are going to digitalize the systems, Now, today, you feel very comfortable. As I sit here, I can easily renew my health insurance card. I can easily register for health insurance. People have done it. Go and check the number of people who have registered.
Right.
We have added more people to that because of the digitalization. People will not necessarily need to walk to GRA to file your tax return. You can sit at the comfort of your home, anywhere you are. Easy tax returns will be able to offer the government to know who is where and who should be taxed.
Okay, right. But I think the concern is to do with whether I'm willing to pay it or not.
This one, all the religions have asked that you pay your tithes.
Okay.
Islam tells you to pay zakat and pay your taxes. So all these things are things that we have all put through. So if we are going to go by religion, we are supposed to pay tax. If you are going to go by staying within the country to expect development,
there are a lot of Christians who don't pay their tithe though.
But definitely this concept we are bringing out and looking at how we have been able to use the taxes to develop this country, people will be very much comfortable to pay their taxes.
Okay. Good morning, Rosalind. The NPP manifesto is uninspiring and lacks credibility. Our surest bet is John Mahama. Nia Itefio from Gamashi. Good morning, Joy Prime. I don't think the Ghanaians are having a short memory, as we're being described by Mr. Dedgo, a.k.a. JDM. Since when did John Mahama and NDC become magicians in job creation? Aziz Bayo from Mawa. All right. No matter how tired I am as a person, I will always have the energy to change my TV channel anytime Nanado is to speak on TV to a different channel where they are showing cartoons. How on earth can a party in power be crying off bringing change? Master Rahman, Tuna Solar. Good morning to you. Okay. Good morning to you. It is crucial to recognize that political parties often tailor their manifesto to appeal to specific demographics or to gain support from certain interest groups. This means that the promises made in these documents may not always align with the best interest of the entire population. As such, it is imperative for us to critically assess the proposed policies and their potential impacts on the economy before pledging our support to a particular political party based solely on their manifesto. Aaron Beba, Misa. I'll come back to all of you. I know I have a lot. Okay, so I'll come back to all of you and try and read them. So for now, we are back here. Don't forget to be playing the quick cash game. The quick cash game. Play it. It's star 281 hash. Star 281 hash. Pick up your phone, dial it. Star 281 hash. If you're a Vodafone, a Telecel user or an MTN user, you stand a chance of winning up to 1,000 Ghana cedis right after the news flash segment. So play. Haruna, are you Muslim?
I'm a Muslim.
You're a Muslim. Oh, I was going to let you play. You can play. You can play. Okay, you send me money on my mobile. Let me play. All right, so you are going to talk about the district housing.
Yes, you asked about the district housing. We are saying that we are going to include the district housing project through incentives to the private real estate industry. That also sits very well with us leveraging resources with the private sector to be able to provide some level of housing schemes, providing of roads, providing of hostels, providing of hospitals and other delivery services that will be able to help our economy to grow. So we are going to give them incentives. And like I said, when these incentives are given to these private real estate developers, I believe that is going to also work out in terms of the pricing and the cost relative to the housing project that is going to come. If in case he's going to use his whole money to be able to do this and government gives him an incentive to do that, it's going to reduce the cost that is involved. If the person is going to pay some certain taxes or what have you, for him to be able to get those things done, and if those taxes are not going to be there, it's not going to be added to the cost build up to that particular infrastructure. As well as we're going to expand the services of the state housing company. The state housing company services is limited to certain areas. If you go to my hometown, perhaps I can't see any of these houses coming from the state housing company. So the services of the state housing company is going to be expanded to get to more areas where these houses will be constructed and people will have access to that. Okay. Then also what we call the TDC, the TDC services, that is Izetama Development Corporations, where they are doing this land issues and what have you, and the National Home Ownership Fund.
So what about
we also create a National Home
the
Ownership
rent
Fund.
advance? Because as you're saying these things, you know, I actually asked the question with regards to the cost of these buildings. If you can't afford it, although it's called affordable housing, if you can't afford even a district, we don't know how much a district house price will be as of now. But if you can't afford it, and you still have to pay rent.
That's why we are saying we are going to give them incentives now. They are using the person might have gone to the bank to borrow the money. The private real estate developer will go to the bank to borrow the money. He borrows the money or she borrows the money. She comes to construct the house. You don't expect the house to be given out to people for free or at a cost that the person cannot be able to recover. So government says that we are now going to give an incentive as to how these houses are constructed. These real estate developers will be given incentives. How the incentive is going to be will depend upon the nature and the type of building that these private companies are going to put up. Okay. So if it is about land, the government maybe gives you the land, or you go in for the loan. The government steps in to give an incentive or reduce the interest rate. And that's why we are saying that as part of his promise, we are doing what we call the credit scoring system. Okay. The credit scoring system will also help you to be able to get more opportunities if you are able to put on a sound footing. So don't expect the building to be, when it is built by the private estate developer on his or her own, and when he's been incentivized by the government to build, the cost will definitely not be the same.
Okay, the cost will not be the same. The question is not about the cost, but how the payment terms are. I'll come back to you.
Oh, it will be.
We are being joined by Dr. Patrick Esumi, who is an economist, and also Professor John Kwapon, who is a public, he's actually a political scientist. So good morning, gentlemen.
Good morning to you.
Oh, sorry. Both professors joining me. So forgive me, Professor Esumi, forgive me.
That's all right.
I hope you're doing well.
I'm well by God's grace. I trust you are well.
I'm fine, thank you.
My co-panelist.
Yes. And let me start the conversation with you. Looking at what has been spoken about by the NPP, their manifesto. As an economist, do you think that we can actually have or run a country with this tax amnesty that will be implemented or can be implemented by the NPP government if voted into power again?
Yes, good morning again. I think it's a very important question to ask, given where we are as a country, the strain on public finances, and we are also in the middle of an IMF program that comes with its own restrictions and challenges. And I think so when you look at what has been proposed, it's not really just the tax amnesty. There are a few other things around the tax. I think it's been publicly said the flag bearer has said he will get rid of some taxes. I think that's all well and good. But to be fair, it's also mentioned somewhere that there are plans to cut public expenditure by around about 50, up to 3% of GDP. So I think that's all well and good. We need a little bit more detail on some, especially on the rest of the expenditure cuts.
Okay.
We need to know what exactly we are planning to cut and where those savings are coming from.
Okay. I think you spoke about the size of government that will be cut, right?
Yeah, but I will explain how the cut is going to be done.
Sure. All right.
Yeah, so because I think we have really struggled, this country has really struggled to cut expenditures. If you recall, in 2022, in the heat of the e-levy debate, it had been promised that we were going to cut discretionary expenditure by 30%, which didn't materialize. So when you make that kind of commitment, and obviously I'm very supportive of that because where we are, we need to cut as much of public expenditure, especially the non-critical ones as possible. But we need a little bit more detail, and perhaps maybe those details will be contained in the full manifesto. I don't know. Then when you come to the tax side, I think you have to match when you say you are removing one tax handle, we really need to we really need to understand exactly how we are going to plug that hole. So when you say you cut the e-levy or the other things that has been promised that we will cut it, I think that is, I am completely supportive of removing the e-levy. But at the same time, we, in the IMF program, we've made projections on various revenue sources over the period. So when you say you are going to remove the e-levy and it's going to create a hole, you are going to remove betting tax and it's going to create a hole, you need to explain what else are you going to do to fill the hole? Because the reason why we are here is because we've been spending monies we don't have, and the economy is in real difficulty. So as laudable as, especially for the e-levy, I am completely for it, removing the e-levy. But
You don't think the e-levy should be removed?
No, he said
I'm
he's in
completely
support.
for the removal of the e-levy.
You are completely for it,
It's
okay.
something that from the very onset, I've never thought that it's the kind of tax that we need.
Okay.
I know there are some, we can remove those taxes and not have to introduce new tax handles because it's heavily documented that even VAT, we don't collect even up to 70% of what we are supposed to collect. There's a lot of holes in the collection. We are not collecting as much as we should collect. So we need to explain. So it's feasible that you can cut those taxes and still keep our finances in order. Okay. However, it needs to be explained to us exactly how this is going to happen. Don't forget that it's been more than 2 years since the vice president has told us that because of the digitalization, we have increased the number of taxpayers by a whopping amount. But we have not been able to monetize this into our tax collections. So, and then we've also been discussing other tax handles that really have the potential to bring in more. But for someone who has been in government for 8 years, what we will expect is to say these and these and these are the reasons why we haven't done this before. And this is what we are going to do differently so that it will happen. And I think that this is the kind of thing that I actually expect to hear a lot more about. It's not enough to say, oh, we do this, because the question will be, why haven't we done it? We've had the chance to do all of that. Why haven't we done it? So I think maybe the details are in the main manifesto. The full document is not there. But from what I've seen, there are a lot of things that require a lot of detail to fill in.
Okay. All right. And this is coming from Professor Sumi. I think you will definitely explain that,
yes,
right?
Please. Yes,
okay.
Please.
So let me speak with our political scientist who's also joining us, and Professor John Kwapong. Hi, Professor.
Hi, good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
It's good to see you once again.
Same here.
Right. Now, you did, in your write-up, mention the cost involved in these political manifestos. Can you please break it down for us?
Yes. So I acknowledge that as part of, good morning to Prof and good morning to the other co-panelists. I think for me, what struck me between the release of the NDC Youth Manifesto as well as the NPP manifesto is that there's a lot of commitment on the part of government to do a lot of things should either party win power. And I agree that we are facing some major socioeconomic governance issues and challenges, right? That I expect that the political parties would offer quite a number of ideas to say that this is how we can address some of those challenges. But then I went back to the 2024 budget and looked at some of the indicative or projections that the national document was saying about what our fiscal picture would look like the next 3 fiscal years, 25, 26, 27. The budget would continue to be in a deficit, even though expenditures may slow down a little bit between FY 26 and 27. Still, our revenues would still fall short of our expenditure. The other thing I notice is that, so if, let's say, government has 10 cities, right? the things that government is obligated to spend money on two main things: compensation of employees, interest on the debt payment, takes almost about 6 cities out of that 10 cities. So government is left with 4 cities to do all of these other things that are being promised. That is why, for me, in as important as these ideas that are being put out is, I think the other part, a critical part of the conversation, is to get some good idea of how much would all of these things cost us, and how are we going to pay? How are we going to pay for it? Yes, I know that most of the time, whenever these manifesto ideas are shared, we don't really put a price tag on it. But I think, given our current fiscal reality, and even thinking of the fact that we are under an IMF program, I think it will be good to make that part of the conversation to say, here is a projected cost of some of these programs, and here is where the money is going to come from for us to be able to do these things. Because also keep in mind that we are talking about also, tax amnesties, some tax incentives. We are talking about doing away with the e-levy, at least from the NPP side, right? I'm sure the NDC might also talk about the provision of certain tax incentives, etc., etc. Now, you have to offset some of those revenue losses with other ways of generating enough revenue to be able to address these things. The last thing I would also add is that also keep in mind that when you have a budget deficit, typically there are two ways that governments try to close that gap. One, they turn to their central bank for deficit financing, which we can't do because there's a commitment to zero financing, deficit financing from the central bank, which leaves you with your other option of borrowing. But again, we are currently generally locked out of the international capital markets, right? So we can't tend to that to maybe like raise some of these euro bonds that we've been able to do over the last couple of years. Now, some of all of these things can change if you can grow your economy, GDP grows, your existing tax revenues, you may be able to generate more, etc., etc. But for me, that is the cautionary note that at this point I am throwing out there that says all of these ideas are worthy of debate and conversation because it helps us address our challenges.
And they are soothing to
but
the
a
ears,
critical part of the conversation is how much would all of these things cost us?
Very, 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 very important. I think Prof has said something that we really ought to look at. How much will it cost us as a country? At a point in time when COVID came in and there were certain incentives that were given, later we had to make up for it. So how much will it cost us? Will it cost us a way that we might have to pay through taxes? Will it cost us in a way that we'll have to depend on the foreign investors or the foreign market to help us survive? How will it cost us? I don't know if you're ready for that, to an answer for that. But I know it will be difficult to bid, right?
No,
and Rosie, if I can please make a quick point.
Yes, please.
If you go back to the 2012 election, President Akufo-Addo did something that usually is not done when our politicians promise programs. So there was a lot of conversation when he promised the free SHS program and how much it was going to cost. He actually gave a speech in which he detailed some projections and said, even if we take X% of our GDP, it would come up to this amount, and we will be able to use that amount to finance this many students should we roll out the free SHS program if I win the 2012 election. It's not been done, but it's one of the things that I had in mind as I was thinking about this costing of these things, because then he was able to say to us, would you rather spend this X amount of your GDP on a free SHS program, or would you rather spend it on something else? I believe we should spend it on free SHS. And I think it's a good model for us to follow in 2024 as we talk about how much these programs and promises will cost us.
Right, Professor Kwapong. I think before we go on, Professor Kwapong, we should do Professor Isuming and then we go on.
Yes.
Right.
Thank you very much. I would want to say good morning to the two professors for joining us and making a very critical input to our discussion. The first professor talked about we saying that we are going to reduce, take away some costs, reduce some cost in terms of about 3% of the GDP, and that amount to about 30 billion Ghana cedis. If you look at carefully the manifesto that we put out, we talk about sustaining and expanding Ghana's building up economy, and where we talk about giving the private sector the opportunity to be able to join government in terms of provision of infrastructure. If you look at the amount of money that we have spent in terms of capital expenditure in the building of hospitals, in the building of schools, in the building of other facilities, you see that this is huge. We have done all these things within a certain period of time. It is now left with us to be able to create what we call wealth. So this government, the next government of Dr. Bawumia, is going to make sure that we leverage our resources through the private sector. That is private partnership, the PPP. You allow this private sector to build hostel facilities, to build roads, either for rent, either for them to lease, even equipment, cars that government would pay. If I had listened to Dr. Bawumia, he talked about even buying of cars to state agencies. All this is going to be leveraged to the private sector. The money that government would have used to be paying for this particular services will amount to about 3% of the GDP, which is huge. So in that instant, you have cut that cost that you would have used there by leveraging on the private sector. When you do that, two things. Cost is cut from the government side. The private sector is supported to bring up developmental projects. These 30 billion, that is going to about 30 billion that is being cut, would now be moved into wealth creation. That is using them on other sectors of the economy. We are the government that also passed what we call the Fiscal Responsibility Act. So this particular manifesto is telling us we are going to amend the Fiscal Responsibility Act. That will allow that no government should spend not exceeding 105% of the previous year's expenditure. It means that even if you have to have deficit, you should not exceed 5%. You should not, because you have been capped, and that is where the Fiscal Responsibility Act had put us.
What happens if you exceed?
If you have to exceed, just like in the COVID time, you have to go to government, and you have to go to parliament with a bill for parliament to give approval, and you must give reasons why you have to exceed. So this becomes a check for you as government. Okay. Then secondly, he talked about, that will
have to be your last one.
He talked about the taxes. What we are going to do is that we are going to digitalize all the aspects of tax collection. That will reduce leakages. So once leakages are reduced, then all the monies will come in. And what we also want to do is that we have done a critical analysis of all tax that are to be collected. That has informed the areas that we are abolishing. If you say we are abolishing the e-levy, we are digitalizing the platforms. Once we digitalize the platforms will give us more money that we don't need to charge the e-levy again. When we digitalize the platform and we are able, yes. So those aspects that we are bringing up will widen up. More people will file their tax returns and be able to pay their tax. Like so if you have more people, why do you tax betting? Why do you do emission? Why will you do e-levy? Okay. So the implementation of these policies will take away those particular ones, not necessarily even just a policy, but the implementation tells you that you don't need this, you don't need that, you don't need that.
Fantastic.
So that's how you are going to take it out.
Quickly, Professor Kwapon's own.
Yes, the last one.
Yeah.
I don't.
He spoke about the cost. If only government, when making promises, will let us know the cost implications to it.
Yes, the cost implication is what I've explained. Before we are making this particular input into our manifesto, we have done a critical analysis of the cost implications. If you look at the example he said, this was something that we were pushed to, and it came. But we said we were going to do a free senior high school. Before we said it, we had done the cost cost-benefit analysis of that. And that also applies to this particular, all the areas that we have put out in terms of incentives, in terms of money, in terms of tax forgiveness, all this has been quantified.
So should we expect another conversation coming up where we'll see the flag bearer of the NPP let us know the cost implications with regards to this?
Why not? Because we are fully prepared on this particular area. And I like the angle on which Professor Kwaku is coming on. All these areas will be looked at.
Professor Kwaku, it looks like the future is there. The future is bright where we'll see the flag bearer of the New Patriotic Party. Tell us the cost implications with regards to this manifesto. So we are good to go, right? All right. Thank you so much, professors, for joining us. We are very grateful. Unfortunately, time will not permit us to go on. So thank you very, very much. Have a fantastic morning and a fantastic day as well. So we had Professor Kwapong, who is a political scientist, join us. And of course, we had Professor Asumi, who is an economist, also join us. Thank you so much. And Haruna, thank you so much for making time for us this morning. Haruna is the deputy, my God, sometimes you
General
just go.
Secretary.
Sometimes you go blank when you're on TV, right? do you know what happens?
Out of excitement, because a lot of people who have said you look very cute today, will definitely send you off.
Haruna Mohammed is the Deputy General Secretary for the NPP. Thank you so much for being here once again. And of course, we are hoping that now you do understand what the NPP manifesto is talking about. If you don't, we'll continue, because we do have more days to come and talk about
keeping faith with the two political parties, it's definitely the NPP. One has been president before. When he was president, he told us that he's not a magician. Are we certainly asking that he's now a magician?
All right, so, but I always say that your vote is your power. So make sure that 7th of December, you go to the polls and you cast your vote and elect the government that you want to lead you. You can listen to both manifestos and make a decision on who you think can implement what they are saying and what actually sits right for you. Don't forget that we are about to draw. *281#, *281#. You can play now. You still have probably like 2 minutes to go. Or 1 minute. Hey, producer, is it 1 minute or is it 2
And also the EC is doing the voter exhibition.
Okay.
From today up to 27th.
Okay.
So you can do that digitally, and you can also walk in and then check your name.
Right. We have to all go and check. We have to go and check. All right. So *281#, *281#. Are you playing? Are we drawing now? We are drawing now. Okay. All right. So, hey, and oh my God, let's try it and see. Okay, so we are drawing now, and I'm going to do the countdown myself. Okay, so I'm starting from 5. I don't know who this lucky winner is. My fingers are crossed. Oh my God. 5, 4. All right, now let's count down together. 3, 2, 1. Okay, who is it? Okay. Looks like we're going to be calling the person very, very soon. Are we calling the person now? Because I'm super excited. My fingers are crossed. Anyway, we have more conversations that will be coming your way today, so you don't have to tune out at all, because we are here for you. There'll be what's trending, there'll be sports, and there'll be conversation on happiness. Of course, we will have conversation with regards to entertainment, where we have Prophet Akbadi join us. And today, dear, the show is going to be fantabulous. On every Wednesday at 1 p.m., we do have changes that will be coming your way. So tomorrow, 1 p.m., and guess who our guests are? You know Mighty and his mother, right? And they are trending on social media. So he goes and says, Ma, and then he says, Mighty, they cried, and I tell him, you know, they'll be joining us tomorrow. And of course, D-Crime, Dr. Crime, baby, is you know that man? He'll be joining us as well. Tomorrow is going to be great. I cannot wait. And we'll be making fascinators. So we'll be learning how to make fascinators on Changes tomorrow at exactly 1 p.m. And another show I'm excited about, Big Chef Tertiary. I love food. You know, when I see food, I get excited. I'm like, yo. Well, Big Chef Tertiary is actually ongoing. Some schools have been selected. Others are still on. I think today we have another school that will be going to select whoever will contest on behalf of their school. So, When we stop at your place, let the energy flow. Big Chef Tertiary is fire, is bombing the kitchen. I think we have a winner on this morning. Why is it not me though? Because I played. Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning. Hi. What's your name?
I'm Chris.
Hey, Chris, listen. Since you're a man and I'm a woman, let's we can share the money, right? Like you more small for me, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you something.
So you won. How much did you win?
1,000 CDs.
Wow! Congratulations! My goodness, what are you using the money for?
Sorry?
What are you using the money for?
I have a lot of things to do, so I don't know.
Am I in your budget?
So maybe I can. So I'll keep playing.
But I hope I'm in your budget. I hope I'm in your budget too.
Yeah, I'll find something.
We'll talk after. Congratulations.
Thank
Enjoy
you,
your
thank
money.
you so much.
Okay.
Thank you.
So for those of you at home who haven't played yet, you can play. You just heard him. He's won money. Chris has won 1,000 Ghana cedis this morning. He didn't do any work, no work done. He didn't have to take transportation and pay any trotro driver. No, free money, won. Star 281 hash. Star 281 hash is the number to dial. You have to be an MTN user or a Telecel user to do it. Now you select number 7 and play as many as possible. My name is Roslyn Felly. There's all time or permitters for this segment, which is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still phone Papa Perfie. I think, Haruna, you should take one of our biscuits. We have biscuits here. It's from Webby. And it's very good for you, start of the day. As you're going, you can get any beverage and add to it. And it's by Webby, so you can open it and eat it. So this morning, Webby has provided us. I'm struggling to. This segment is proudly brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Next is what's trending. Do stay with our producer says I should clear off her TV. I'm going. Bye.
Newsflash was brought to you by Franco Trading Enterprise. Still, fun papa fie.